everybody, this is Alchemist 2 and I'm back again with another series review. My lovely friend, Bright Star Angie, she recently found me Rockabye Rangers, which was of course a Power Rangers Zeo episode. And I had remembered actually viewing this when I was a child, but it had been such a long time that I had sort of forgotten what the plot was all about, and I hadn't forgotten Somnibot. I always enjoyed her. She had always been one of my favorite villainesses. So having watched the episode again, I got to relive some of my childhood. And personally, I thought this was a rather well-written episode, except for the fact of the inane subplot that Bulk and Skull had. Now don't get me wrong, I really adore Bulk and Skull. I mean, who doesn't? Any real Ranger fan will admit probably the only reason that they watched it was due to Bulk and Skull, if they're like me, but I still got a thing for Jason Narvi. I'll admit to it, married man or not, he's very handsome and I'm still very attracted to him. Okay. Putting that aside, sorry Jason, I still love you. I'll get over it, but but Zeo, I think, just made the Power Ranger series better with time, and I think we know who the Gold Ranger was because evidence all points to Billy, due to the fact that he never fought with them. He was always fighting solo and coming in at just the precise moment, so conveniently. Oh, who would have guessed? And Zach has it figured out in this particular episode. And I remember seeing that the first time. I thought, could the writers really think that children are gullible enough to think that Billy isn't the Gold Ranger? And they thought, oh sure, they have good enough deductive skills that they'll realize, yeah, the evidence is all lined up prettily and tied nicely into a neat little bow. Sure, it just is conclusive. But the only thing I didn't like I said, was that just whole ludicrous subplot, and it didn't really lead anywhere. And poor Bulk and Skull, they had to risk life and limb just for an egg salad recipe. That's a little lame. I mean, it didn't add anything to the story. It didn't take away anything from the story. There was really no moral to be gained from it, and it just seemed superfluous. So I don't know why the writers decided to add it, unless they just wanted to detract a little bit and just throw in some frivolity just for the heck of it. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me either. Bright Star was talking to me about, she didn't understand why Somnibot would attack, or why Mondo would send Somni out in broad daylight. And I thought, well, I told her, I said, look, you know that the actual attack in and of itself is extremely sinister and insidious due to, and had this actually been carried out in the real world, you've got people driving their cars, minding their own business, and Somni's attack was extremely fierce, so it probably would have reached them too on the roads, and that would have caused pile-ups and deaths, especially with people in 8-wheelers. Yeah, imagine the carnage there. Or you got people in forklifts, people can get gored to death, and oh, it would be horrendous, but that's a pretty darn underhanded plot to gain the upper hand on the Rangers. And interestingly enough, Machina and Mondo, they come up with this plot to upset the Rangers, because they've been doing nothing but fighting Mondo up to this point, and they're just completely enervated. So that's how they come up with Somnibot. But my favorite scene, other than where they ride in on their motorcycles, that was so awesome. That part, the action involved in that, just it kept me on the edge of my seat. But when they form the Megazord, like they did in so many episodes, this was why I was into giant robots back in the day, and almost every anime that I watched featured a mech of some sort. Like Big O was one of my favorites, and all the different Gundam series. I'm still big into Gundam. I never overcame my obsession with Gundam. At that time, I was it was Gundam Wing, which was my first real introduction into the realm of Gundam, and I always liked Duo. Duo was everything. I wanted to be the pilot of that particular mech. I thought that would just be my dream come true, and have the scythe and just be lording it over. I would be feared and revered. But anyways, beside that, it was a pretty thorough episode. Good writing, good plot. Nice little side note with Billy and Zach having the idea of, maybe I have discovered something that the other Rangers really they don't seem to be keen or even aware of the fact that Billy hasn't been fighting with them. It is so achingly obvious. The other thing that I enjoyed about this episode were all the puns. They were really good. And I enjoyed hearing Somni sing. I remember her singing before, and she actually has a really good singing voice, and we both know the voice actress behind her, and her voice actress is just the sweetest person you'll ever meet, just down to earth and so nice. And actually I have to say that about Polly Schreier and Jason. I never heard from Jason, actually. I was kind of hoping I would, but he's a dad, so he's really busy. But I mean, if I have the chance to actually hug him in person and tell him just how much he influenced me, I wanted to be I wanted to go and maybe I like making people laugh. It's just something I'm good at. I don't think I can make a career out of it due to the fact that hecklers scare the daylights out of me, and I don't like speaking in front of people. So that's another thing I don't think I could ever. Maybe I could. Maybe I could actually kind of step beyond my boundaries and do that. That's what I want to produce. I would be more in the background rather than the forefront. And even if I did make my own film, I would be kind of a chorus character, an Easter egg for people to point out, like, oh, there she is. Yeah, I stick out like a sore thumb. I'm different than everybody else, so yeah, you can find me very easily. But he's really he seems like a really cool guy, but I haven't really heard anything from him. The other person I heard from was I got a crush on him too, but Felix. I wonder how Felix is doing. I haven't heard anything from him. I have yet to get his autograph. He's probably really busy, but anyways, as far as episode construction, I would give this one 3.5 out of 5. Like I said, the only drawback was that whole idea with the safe and Vulcan's skull giving a charge over it, and then you've got Smith and Locksmith. I'll get this right in a minute. Honestly, I thought that was the dumbest pun I've ever heard. I thought, oh my. That's just terrible. I can't even stand it. It's so awful. I forgot to laugh. How droll. But that wasn't even clever. The other ones were far more clever than that one. And sorry, I had popcorn, but because I was gonna watch a movie earlier and it never happened. But let's see. Lost my train of thought. I agree with Angie in the fact that I think that Somni's true ability could have been used for something better rather than destruction. It was a very serious, deleterious power that was not only beautiful but chaotic as well in its purest form, especially when amplified. And in our stories, in our fanfics, we actually have her working with the side of good and wielding that power to save humanity, basically. Because I'm thinking that a power like hers could be very beneficial, especially to a lot of people that aren't getting enough rest in this day and age in our crazy world, especially in America. I'm not saying anything new, am I? No. But that's all I gotta say, and until next time, live long, prosper, gentle.